Hey everybody, I wanted to give you some feedback for this week. This is our first really fun where we're actually creating images that may or may not be included in our final website. So this is one of the genres of photography that you may choose to focus on. By the end you should have at least three of your favorite types of photography, and still life is one. Next week we'll be doing food. Well, you might have seen that already, and then we get into portraits and landscape and all of those things. So you might have guessed that photography is really just such a vast subject. It's really impossible to cover in this length of time. So what I'm going to ask is if there's an area that you really would like me to do a tutorial, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to create it for you. Okay, so let's take a look at Michael. I know Michael's first. I actually saved it into Bridge. And so if I wanted to, I could see his metadata and find out when he created it, all of that kind of thing. But honestly, you have to have those settings on you. It has to be set on your camera. I think my camera says 1980 for some reason, because I never fixed it. So that's not a big deal, but just in case, you might want to set the date on your camera just to prove that you did this recently. So I like your mannequin. These are fun shots, and I love that you did an actual sweep background. So I'm really impressed with that, because I thought about that. I was like, oh, I should have told him about doing a sweep, but then I thought, well, it's part of researching. So here we have it. You did your research, and now we've got this background that could actually be faded out. It could be made solid black, so this little guy is sitting here on this cube, and then we don't see any of this. This is this is telling us the reality of the situation. And with a still life like this, we want to suspend reality. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, if you want me to do a tutorial for that, it's not too hard, but easy to look up as well. Google, how do I fade the background? How do I make the background solid? Things like that. And this one is fun. I really like your color story here. And I think it's so cute that his little head is hiding behind the leaf. So here we've got the beginnings of a story. Also, nice work with the sweep. I see that maybe this is your flash or whatever you're using as your lighting source is hitting it's making your background shine. So, but that's something that we can get rid of in Photoshop. And then this just really kind of was shocking to me. It's so cool. So cool. I absolutely love it. I think that this is a keeper for your portfolio, definitely. Definitely. So I had to look close, but I do see, your same background here, and that could be made to go away as well. So just let me know if you'd like a tutorial on getting rid of that evidence of reality. Okay, let's see, who was next? Let's see if it was... Oh, I was going to do a tutorial, and it's just so different for every photo. I just thought, well, we're going to have to be specific. Hold on a second. Alrighty, I'm back here at Michael's post. And I just love how everybody is so positive and encouraging to each other. I love that. I'd like you to get more specific in your replies. I think we have room for more specific statements, and maybe, ask them, how did you do this? Or, I know how to do this. I could share that with you. Or, sharing an artist that you like or an image that reminds you of what they created. Those kind of things are really going to advance our work. Okay, so Caden is next. Go back to the bridge. Here's Caden. Caden, this is actually a great photo. I love the color of the lighting. That's beautiful. I love your background blur, your shallow depth of field. And this is like almost like a stock photo. If you know about stock photography, that's something that a lot of businesses use. If they're looking for, I need a picture of a stack of books, you know, that includes a novel by John Grisham, or you know what I mean? There's specific criteria or specific ways you can select exactly what you're looking for, and then you can make money off of that. It's crazy. So if you look up stock photography, you might be interested in that. And there's a couple things that could be cleaned up here. I don't know if I really like the detail of the table. I kind of do. Actually. But I don't know if it would be distracting for a stock photo. So you might want to look into removing these blemishes. And then this one's nice as well. I love the blurred background. You know, I'm a sucker for that. Your light source, though, is creating like a little bit of a shine, which kind of reminds me of, you know, still life paintings from, you know, the Renaissance or even before the Renaissance. So I kind of like it, but I'm not a fan of flash. So I think I would have preferred, like, maybe if the light, this beautiful window light, if you had that behind you when you photographed the fruit, that would be more pleasing light to the fruit itself. But again, I'm being picky. But like I said, I'm trying to move us forward. Here again, I've got, you know, very interesting background. This is interesting. I've never seen that. A little basic, but I understand that we're just beginning here, so we're just getting started. I still do like that blurred background. And again, you know, sports and sports equipment and apparel, you know, like fashion, that's another direction you could go for stock photography. So be thinking about these things as we move forward. Okay, so next was, let's see, next was Kavarian. And very interesting. One of the things that I'm impressed by here is that you turned your camera. Lots of people, they just, you know, they hold it just like the camera is made. You know, it's always horizontal and there's never any verticals. So here you turned your camera and it fits the subject. I really like this color story. I think the bricks are beautiful, and it's all very nice and clear. This one I'm not as crazy about, but it is kind of an interesting composition. All of these kind of angles and lines that we see here. So that's kind of cool. And I like the reflection on the table as well. This one is, again, it's simplistic, but I like that we've got a reflection on the table. This kind of adds an interesting, you know, it's almost like abstract. So it's interesting. You're heading somewhere with it. And next is Dylan. So Dylan went with the fruit, kind of like the still life idea from, you know, in the painting medium. So I'm impressed of all the amount of fruits and all different kinds of fruits that you have in your home. That's quite a bit. Everything looks really fresh. And I love this one. This is my favorite, for sure. It's my favorite, not just because you went vertical with it, but you got such an interesting composition. It's like, you know, the bananas really kind of frame the rest of the fruits, and we've got this line that our eye follows, and our eye just keeps moving throughout. Very interesting, and everything looks shiny and crisp. I guess like fruit should look fresh. And this one is, you know, not a huge fan of it. I do like your shallow depth of field. But this one is definitely your keeper out of this week. So save that one for your final portfolio. Okay, and then I think we just have Michaela. Yep. Okay, so here's Michaela. Michaela had some fun. So I'm just going to start down here. So I think those are gauges. I recognize them from our oldest daughter who had gauges for a while. Not anymore. But anyway, I am impressed, Michaela, that you thought to create a sweep. And it's very interesting, your sweep. It's almost like it's got these textural folds that you can imagine in a painting, perhaps. And I like how you placed your objects kind of off-center, which is something that we learned about when we were talking about composition a couple weeks ago. This one's very nice as well. I like it a lot. And then here we get into even more fun. So the interaction of these characters is really fun to me. It's like years ago, I mean, I taught middle school photography and elementary photography, and we used to do this assignment every year called Toy Stories. And I would bring in my kids' old toys, and the kids would pose them and try to come up with a little story scene. And here, I think you've got that. You know, you've got the characters are interacting. They're in this world that we have no idea where it is. It's just, you know, there's not enough information to know. And I kind of feel like you could experiment with blurring the background as well, so that we are less sure of what could be happening. We want to be fooled into thinking this is what? These characters are really, you know, they're really interacting. And this composition is really good. I love it. I really love it. And I kind of like how the folds kind of frame your character, but I would play around with blurring your background just to get rid of that information. And he's a cutie too. Here there's a little bit that you could crop out just to, like I said, make it a little more believable, so that we're thinking that, you know, we're staring at it because we can't figure out how it was done. So I hope you understand what I mean by that. Notice I'm in bridge. I love me some bridge. All right, everyone, I want to hear back from you. I want to hear if there's something that you would like me to do a tutorial on. And that said, food photography this week. And if you need any suggestions or advice, you have an idea and you're not sure, with food photography, one good idea always is to try and use lighting to make the food look delicious. So like candlelight can be really beautiful. Sunset light, you know, just kind of like glaring overhead lights doesn't make your food look delicious. So that's kind of your goal for this week. Make everything look delicious. All right, talk to you soon.